Hi guys, I'm Landon, and this is David, and we're Taffy Hoops. If you're any degree of an NBA fan, you've heard that in the past week there was a James Harden. There was a four-team blockbuster trade that involved James Harden, Victor Oladipo, Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen, and a few other players. And yeah, it moved around players in the NBA, and we're just going to talk about that today and what we think that can do for the league.
Mm-hmm. So starting with the Nets, they obviously got the best player in the trade, James Harden, but they also gave up 8 picks. They just gave up their whole future to get
Win now, basically.
yeah. So now I say their window for winning is 3 years. So James Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant
James
are
Harden has 2 years on his contract, right? Yeah.
3 years.
Oh, 3 years in a player option. 2 years in a player option.
Yeah.
Which you probably will take if he has still the same people around him.
Right. So this is an obvious win if they can have good chemistry on the court and off the court.
Yeah, there definitely could be chemistry issues.
Yeah, we know Kyrie Irving is taking a sabbatical right now. Hopefully he'll be back so they can play with the full roster. They don't really have a bench since they gave up like Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen, and Torian Prince.
Yeah.
But hopefully that big three will just take them to the top. With the next team.
Well, also I was gonna say I just watched and I sent to David a Jimmy Hyde roller video.
Yeah.
And it was really good, and it was talking about like big threes and stuff. And we'll link this video in the description. But it said that in every like winning big three in history, there's always been one of the amazing players that earn the big three that have to take like that step back.
Yeah.
Like Klay Thompson, Dennis
Manu
Rodman, Manu Ginobili. And they're not like the star of the big three, but they're still impactful on the team.
Right. They basically impact the little things on the court.
Yeah, and they do what it needs. They're the reason that the team wins.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other big threes, like what were the other big threes?
Like the Kobe, Nash, and Howard. No one wanted to take that third spot.
Yeah, and then with this Nets team, I don't know. Like it's just debatable, like who's gonna take that spot. Because the one person, personality wise, who I think would take that spot would be Kevin Durant, but he's also, in my opinion, the best player on that team, so he shouldn't take that spot probably.
Right.
Whereas it's Kyrie Irving's probably the lesser of the three. He's still an amazing player.
Yeah.
He's just compared to some of the top 7, top 5 players in the league.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that could backfire with chemistry issues.
Exactly. But again, they're all where there's good talent. It's going to be a good team.
Yeah.
At least.
Right.
It just might not be a winning championship team.
Right. With the Houston Rockets, they got the big haul of picks with the 8 picks from Brooklyn. They also don't really have to tank because they don't have many of their own picks, but they have a lot of the Nets picks. So in like 3 or 4 years from now, they could get that number 1 pick if chemistry issues happen.
Yeah.
There's always that possibility, but you never know. So that could be a W of a trade, or all those picks could be useless. Mm-hmm. So either way.
And then, I mean, they have Oladipo now, which as Pacer fans, we're sad about. But, and we'll get onto that later when we talk about the Pacers. But they're a good team now. Like, they're a playoff team, most likely, but not a contender. But again, their future looks good because they have all those picks.
Right. So let's talk about the Indiana Pacers. So they traded Victor Oladipo to the Rockets, and they got Karis LeVert and a second-round pick from the Brooklyn Nets. So
and you never know, that second-round pick could turn into something.
Yeah,
could be a Nikola Jokic
or Manu Ginobili.
Yeah.
But when you're really looking at it, Karis LeVert is arguably the better offensive player, but Victor Oladipo is by far the better defensive player, but he's more injury prone.
So, he's slightly older. He's coming off an injury, and he just hasn't looked exactly himself coming off the injury.
But he's looked better than the bubble for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, as Pacer fans, we're of course sad to see a player that we loved on our team leave. But I mean, inevitably, he was going to end up leaving in free agency this season at the end of the season. So it's better that we get a young 26-year-old Karis LeVert that we can turn into a superstar,
Mhm.
possibly, or not necessarily a superstar, but at least all star, like
Yeah,
we did Oladipo
and
and
Sabonis,
Sabonis and Miles Turner, and I mean Miles Turner isn't an all star yet,
but he's a defensive
but
team
like
player
Paul
for sure.
George, like the Pacers just take good players and we make them great.
Yeah,
Um,
but not TJ Leaf.
and I just remembered a thing that I forgot to say about the Rockets. But Oladipo might not stay with is definitely not going to stay with the Rockets unless the Rockets, instead of trading him this season,
Can convince him to stay.
can try to convince him to stay with the Rockets.
Yeah,
But unless they can convince him, then I'm pretty sure that Oladipo is going to Miami.
yeah. So with the last team on the list, the Cavaliers, I think they took the smallest risk. And they probably got the biggest W. They
I don't want to say biggest W
W
because the Nets could possibly win a championship with the team
right,
they have,
right, but
but
they
safest W for sure.
yeah. I feel like I'm most sure with saying the Cavaliers got a W in this trade.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And Jarrett Allen basically got traded for a random first round pick. And they also got Torian Prince, who could crack that rotation and do something with that team.
Yeah, he could, but he also could just not. But
Yeah.
even if Torian Prince wasn't that deal, it'd still be a W for them.
Right.
He's just a good young
hmm
talent.
So now they have a lot of front court players such as Andre Drummond,
Love
uh, yeah, Kevin Love, Jarrett
Jarrett
Allen
Allen.
now. So could we see a potential trade coming?
Yeah, I just was talking to David about how I think we both saw it, but it was a Kenny for Real
Yeah.
video or called Game Video that we'll link in the description again. But it was talking about how this Jarrett Allen trade could possibly be um, like hinting towards
Another trade.
a trade
Yeah.
with Andre Drummond or just
hmm
them not re-signing Andre Drummond.
Right. Yeah. So tell us in the comments if you disagree or even agree with us. Uh, Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you later.
Peace.
Peace.